Ever wondered what would happen if Deku from My Hero Academia was in the world of Date Alive? In this series, we explore a new twist where Deku finds himself surrounded by a harem of spirits. Let's dive into part 1 of this wild adventure. Izuku, see, couldn't you VCA another be better F fall? With his leg behind his head. Stain, okay, shut up boy, we have to see where we are. Pained, he got up and stood at the edge of the building, but he doesn't know this place. Do you have a GPS? Looking at Izuku, who just made a bitter face. What's wrong? Izuku, in our fight you destroyed my cell phone. Looking at how Stain made a funny face. Stain, and I didn't bring my cell phone. Looking in his pockets, I'll have to ask. Going down the building by some metal stairs. Aren't you coming, boy? Without stopping, Izuku just follows him. We see how people look strangely at the two men who passed by them, these being Stain and Izuku. Izuku, why are you looking at us like that? He asks Stain. Stain, well, I'm used to people looking at me like that, shaking his head in an unimportant way. Izuku, but not me. Stain, that doesn't affect anything boy, just ignore them. Ask that boy where we are, pointing to a raven-haired boy along with a short red-haired girl next to him. Izuku, I'm going to where they are, but coming back quickly. Why don't you go? Not wanting to talk to them because of how everyone was looking at him. Stain, calm down boy, hitting him on the head. You just have to ask. Answering your question, I can't ask anyone since everyone moves more than 3 meters away from me when they see me pointing. Izuku, right. Stain just growls at Izuku's statement and pushes Izuku, who scaredly went to where they were. Stain, the idiot doesn't know what he can go ask anyone? Looking at many people near Izuku, but the idiot only went to where the two aforementioned were. Izuku touches the shoulder of the dark-haired boy, who turned to look at him along with the redhead. Hello do you know where we are? Mean what part of Japan? Scratching his cheek embarrassed, but notices how the redhead was looking at him very badly. This girl looks at me the same as the others, crying comically. Izuku touches the shoulder of the raven-haired boy, who turned to look at him along with the redhead. Hello do you know where we are? Mean what part of Japan? Scratching his cheek embarrassed, but notices how the redhead was looking at him very badly. Shido, hey? Confused by the question but decides to answer. We're in Japan. I don't know what part of Japan it is. I don't remember what they said in which part of Japan. If you know, please tell me. Izuku, thank you. Going to Stain. The red-haired girl named Kotori Itsuka kept watching where Izuku went with a single thought. Kotori, it must be a spirit, looking at the weird outfit. Oh, maybe he's just wearing cosplay, with a funny face, but I'll still follow him, taking out a lollipop from her shirt pocket. Shido, that boy is strange, isn't he? Kotori, you're nobody to criticize the weird Oni-chan, after all you're the oldest weird one, she said, putting her lollipop in her mouth. Shido, eh? And that's not true. About 3 girls looked at the two strangely. These fucking girls were on my ass when I watched the anime. Kotori, leaving that aside, looking at a restaurant that was in front of them called Danny's. Thanks for bringing me Oni-chan. When we get out of school, could we come here? Shido nods. Promise me, even if an emergency happens, even if terrorists take the restaurant, we will come. With a pout. Shido, sure, I promise, with one hand on Kotori's head. The 3 girls only talked about Shido, not even secretly, about how Shido was an incestuous and sick person. Kotori, then it's a promise. Walking away, you'll still come even if a space ripple occurs. Waiting for her brother's answer. Shido, yes, I know, you have to go, waving his hand farewell, and his sister walks away but a hand grabs his. Good morning, Itsuka. Shido just made a bad face. Shido, good morning Tanamachi. Tanamachi, I'm glad to see you with a lot of energy this semester, releasing Shido's hand. Behind them the 3 girls continued talking about the two of them, one of whom seemed bisexual according to rumors at school. One of the girls sees a white-haired girl with short hair looking at Shido secretly behind a light pole, but shakes her head thinking it wasn't her. With Izuku, Stain arriving where the murderer is. Stain, what did they tell you boy? Izuku, well, we're not in Musetafu, denying that they weren't where they live. Stain, damn. Shaming. Looking around, didn't he tell you what part of Japan we are in? Izuku nods and says well, we'll have to rest somewhere. When we get to Musetafu, we'll put this truce aside. Izuku just sighs. Izuku, oh okay. Stain, what if? Thinking of a possibility. Izuku, huh? Stepping back, thinking he changed his mind about the truce. Stain, I'm not going to do anything to you kid. After all, you are one of the 2 heroes left. Thinking. Izuku, huh? Confused by what was said. Stain, forget that, I'll tell you what I was thinking. Izuku nods in relief, crying comically at being saved. There's a possibility that we've been sent to another universe or dimension. Izuku, don't you think you're exaggerating? Covering himself with his hands in case the killer had an offensive idea. Stain, I already told you that I won't do anything to you, crybaby hero. Maybe it sounds crazy, but haven't you noticed? Izuku, what should I notice? Looking around until he notices something. There are no heroes. Stain nods. Then he was going to scream, but Stain punches him. Stain, now who is he that exaggerates? Izuku only had a depressive aura. Izuku, but how will I live? Starting to sob like always the crybaby, but receives a hit. Hey. Can you stop so much hitting? Crying comically with a bruise on his cheek. Stain, when you stop screaming, if we're not in our reality we'll have to live together, don't you think? Izuku just froze with pale skin. What's wrong? Izuku, it's not normal to study to be a hero and then end up living with a killer. Stain, I won't be a killer anymore if we're not in our reality, boy. After all, I won't have fake heroes to kill. Izuku now didn't know which of the two options that there were would be the best, being in his reality. Stain would continue being a killer and possibly kill him, or be in another reality and be under the care of an old killer. Izuku, I think I still prefer the first one, crying comically even without trusting Stain. Stain, tell me, kid, what's your name? I'm tired of calling you a crybaby and a hero. Izuku, I'm Midoriya. Izuku standing firm. Stain, then I'll have to introduce myself with my real name, right? Izuku, just waited, I'll tell you. If we're not in our reality, we have to look for a place to see if we're here. We'll just have to search for Almith in a search engine, and if it doesn't appear then we'll have our truce. Izuku just nods. Izuku, so what are we going to do? Stain, find a place to stay. I have money and my card with me, showing his things. I hope the card works between dimensions. Izuku just shook his head, crying comically, and Stain started crying too along with Izuku. With Shido. In a school we see in a second grade classroom, 2F, there were Tanamachi and Shido talking. Tanamachi, how lucky that we are in the same classroom, Shido. Shido nods, sitting at the back with Tamachi, but he sat in front of his friend. Then Tanamachi's cell phone rings. Oh wait, it's my girlfriend, taking out his cell phone. Shido, do you really have a girlfriend? Not believing him. Tanamachi, of course, look at her, showing her the screen of her cell phone showing a coterie with a hairstyle and pink eyes inside a game. Shido, that's a dating sim. Tanamachi, a girlfriend is a girlfriend, crying comically. Stop criticizing so much. This simile is interrupted by a white-haired girl next to them. Itsuka. Shido. Shido, huh? Me? Yeah. Shido, how? Do you know my name? Looking closely at the girl. Don't you remember? The girl sits next to Shido after not receiving an answer. Shido, hey, who is she? Approaching Tamachi. Tanamachi, huh? Are you telling me you don't know Tabayachi Origami, the super genius? Shido, Tabayachi Origami? Tanamachi, she has the highest grades in our year, and on top of that she's too cute looking, with a blush at Tabayachi, who didn't even look at them reading a book. Are you sure you don't know Tabayachi? She knows you apparently. Shido, that's what I'd like to know, looking with narrowed eyes directly at the white-haired girl, but the bell rings and a teacher enters the classroom. Tanamachi, oh. Getting up, it's Tama-chan. Looking at the teacher. Tammy, good morning everyone, I will be your teacher this year. My name is Okamine Tammy. Everyone applauds her but lightly for the little introduction. With Izuku. They were leaving a bank and Stain was crying comically along with Izuku since the killer's card did not appear registered in any type of bank. Stain, we better rent an apartment. Going to look for a place to stay with Izuku while they had a depressive aura. Hours later at school. The bell rang for school to end and everyone began to leave. Tanamachi, Itsuka, let's go home together. Shido shakes his head. Shido, sorry, I already have plans. Tanamachi, with a girl? Curious. Shido, you could say it's just coterie though. Tanamachi, I know, I'm sure with my research that no girl would want to go out with you, moving her hair in which sparkles came out. Shido, that's going too far. Looking at the ground. At that point a siren sounds. A space wave. It has been detected in the area. Shido, a space wave? Worried. This is not a drill, please go to your nearest shelter. Tanamachi, a wave nearby? Looking out the window. At that point Tabayachi stands up, calling Shido's attention, who just watched as the girl walked away. In a dark part we see how they looked at a kind of screen that was detecting how the space wave was going to have contact with the Earth. It's here. With Izuku. He was walking with Stain down the street at last with a key to rest in a place. Izuku, now we have to find out if we are in our reality. Stain nods, but a siren starts to sound throughout the city. What's going on? Stain, this city has a better defense than the UA. Izuku just turns to look at him. Are you going to deny me? Izuku, sure. Why not? Getting a little laugh from Stain. All the people began to hide in safe places, even the cars, underground. Stain and Izuku just watched that. Izuku, so we're going to mess with them? Stain shakes his head. Stain, they must hide from something dangerous. We will make sure to finish him off, grabbing something from his back, being his sword. Izuku, I know why people were moving away from you. Stain, then why were you thinking before that they were moving away from me? Looking accusingly at Izuku, who just swallowed hard. Izuku, that doesn't matter. He scratching his cheek, scared of Stain more than what is approaching. At school. All the students were underground and Shido's teacher was screaming, mortified. Kami, calm down, just follow the 3 rules, single file, firm and orderly. She shouted. Tanamachi, sensei, you need to calm down. Walking past her. Kami, why you're right, approaching Tamachi, who just walked away confused. Shido is in the background on his cell phone trying to communicate with Kotori. Shido, he doesn't answer. Not even my messages or calls. I hope he's okay. Continuing to call him, but he thinks of something. Don't tell me he was serious about our promise. Even more worried, remembering his sister. Shido just runs out of the hiding place thinking about going for his sister. Tamachi just yelled at him in the background why his friend was leaving the place. Shido stops in the middle of walking to look for his sister's location with the GPS. When doing so, he notices that the location is in Danny's, exactly in the restaurant. Shido ran back there, imagining his sister outside the place covering herself. Shido was running through the streets tired, trying to get to Danny's, remembering moments with his sister. Shido, why are you waiting for me when everyone in the city is in the shelters? Running, determined not to stop until he finds his sister. Shido, Kotori. Kotori, I thought desperately. Shido turns onto a street and finds Izuku and Stain walking, causing him to stop. Izuku, Stain, I thought everyone was hiding, pointing to Shido. Stain, it was supposed to. Shido, what are they doing here? Thinking they were some spirit, but remembers seeing Izuku calming down. Hatsu sighs in relief, but remembers why he was running away from the place in a hurry, and the other 2 follow him in case they were of help, thinking that the Raven was looking for someone. The 3 of them stop before a huge explosion, very huge, that fell almost in the middle of the city. The explosion made a wave that sent them to the ground. Stain, I thought it was some villain. Not an alien attack. Falling face first onto the ground. Izuku, you're not the only one. Face against the concrete. Before the explosion there was a lot of dust. The 3 of them got up and looked at the enormous crater where there was a girl with purple armor and a huge sword. That girl with her sword sent a straight attack towards the 3. Stain grabbed Shido and managed to dodge the attack along with Izuku. The girl quickly appeared in front of Izuku, pointing her sword at the green-haired man. You too? The 3 of them just stood there silently, not understanding. Are you here to kill me? With a serious but somewhat depressing face to Izuku's eyes. Talk. You're here to kill me, right? Stain, I don't even know who you are, with Thanos muscles. Take 2. I already missed taking the shots. Not noticing that they were talking, he decided to bring the sword closer. If you don't tell me, I'll finish you off once and for all. Pointing the sword at Izuku's neck, who, frightened, spoke quickly. Izuku, HH. You would never do what? Giving him an angry look. Izuku, K, kill nobody. And W, who are you? Shido just waited for the question curiously, and Stain just slapped his face at Izuku's question. In that? Turns to the sky, girls with robotic suits came going to attack? With missiles, who only covered herself by putting her hand in front of her, creating a shield stopping the attacks of the missiles, who upon feeling contact with the shield exploded. Don't you realize how useless this is? Going to attack them, destroying missiles along the way. The 3 spectators watched the fight. Stain only looked at the girl for how she used the sword and with curiosity about why she attacks the city. Izuku was surprised by the battle and Shido was speechless. Izuku, he has enormous strength. But, look how the girl turns to look at him, she looks so sad. Izuku gets up determined to help him. It doesn't matter that he's not from this world. I won't let them attack him, Releasing rays from his body, Shido just looked at the boy in surprise. Stain just shook his head at what he was going to do but decided to help him. Stain, I'm with you boy. Taking out his sword and some knives. Izuku, thanks Stain the assassin nods. The two went to the battle site, but Shido notices a robot girl. Shido, Tabayachi? Looking surprised at the girl who was fighting against the spirit. Izuku used his smash lightly so as not to make a mess just by hitting those who support the white-haired girl. Stain fought alongside Izuku, serving as his backup by throwing knives. The purple-haired girl looked surprised at what the two of them were doing. She just smiled slightly and began to fight against Tabayachi, who had some kind of technological sword. After a bit of struggling, the purple girl won the sword fight with Tabayachi, sending him crashing to one place. The purple one just left the place, glancing at Izuku before leaving. Izuku, we did it, didn't we? Stain nods, looking where the winner went. Stain, I just think that next time I want one of those armors to be safe. Leaving the place with Izuku carrying Shido to take him to a safe place from the flying robot girls. Tabayachi, who were they? Remembering Izuku and Stain who ruined his plans, even if they weren't there, he was going to lose. We find Izuku and Stain running through the buildings with Shido on Stain's back, who was waking up screaming like crazy because of the heights they were at. Stain, seriously, can I shut up? Izuku just shrugs his shoulders, making Stain smile as he ran past a wall, knocking out Shido by crashing into his face while he ran. Izuku, that could have ripped his head off. Looking at the way he did it. Stain, better, that way he wouldn't yell at me again. Taking a drop out of Izuku's temple. Boy, now let's go home, put this brat to rest and we'll check if we're in our dimension. Izuku just nods. Izuku, I'm sure we're not in our dimension. After that attack it's impossible for heroes not to appear jumping through the houses and down from a house to get off in a building in an alley. Stain, now that I think about it, I haven't bought any clothes for us, boy. Coming out of the alley. Izuku, how about we do that first? After all, we already know that it's not our dimension. Stain, since when do you trust me? Confusing Izuku, you don't even cry or stutter when you talk to me anymore. Izuku just opens his mouth. Izuku, he's scratching the back of his head. Speaking of which, didn't you tell me what you were going to say to me for calling me a brat instead of a brat? Stain just nods. Stain, I'll tell you. Crybaby with chibi face. Izuku, huh? Stain opens the house. Stain, well then I'll tell you. Midori, you're rolling his eyes. I'll introduce myself right away. The two of them enter the house with an unconscious Shido whom they leave on the sofa. Izuku, how? Stain, Kaizo Makaguro, that's my name boy, remember it now because I won't repeat it to you again. Leaving his sword in the closet that was there. Izuku, so let's go shopping for food, clothes and Stain, bitches. Leaving Izuku with a blushing face. Take 2. Stain, yes, that's all we'll do. I'll try to get a job today or tomorrow. Looking at his money, that wouldn't be enough for a whole week, at least 5 days to deal with his and Izuku's expenses. Izuku, then I'll work too. Stain nods. Stain, see, don't you want what I paid you to go study at a school here? Izuku just put stars in his eyes. Dude, that was a fart. Thinking what I wouldn't want. Izuku, then I'll go to school. Screams out the window, making a funny face at Stain because he almost woke up Shido. Hours later. Izuku and Stain were returning from shopping. They had managed to buy what they needed, clothes, food, and Izuku was given a job at the supermarket. Stain was just crying comically since they wouldn't let him work there. Izuku, well I got a job before you. He smiling at Stain who just snorted. Stain, beginner's luck. Midoriya. I better call you kid or boy. Izuku just shakes his head. Hey, you're not telling me what to do. Izuku just cringes. When they get home they see a car parked in front of their house. Stain, noticing this, runs like a leopard to the door of the house. He saw that the lock was forced and quickly entered the house, looking at Shido and a white-haired lady talking to him. Stain just stared at the woman paralyzed. Izuku arrived second after Stain, only to watch Stain drool and the other two look confused at the assassin's reaction. Shido, you guys brought me here, right? Getting up from the couch. Stain snapped out of shock and nods. Stain, that's right, crybaby. Shido just put on a depressive aura because of the nickname. Izuku, and who are you? Stain just shakes his head when he sees Izuku again, the bundle of nerves. Reine, I am. Murasame Reine. Izuku and Shido, is that a stuffed animal she's carrying? Accidentally looking at the girl's breasts. Stain, a beautiful name, miss. Trying to flirt with Rene, who just nodded at what was said. Rene, thanks for the compliment and sorry about the door not noticing what Stain was trying. Stain, he didn't even care what I said, crying in the corner. Izuku, it's rare to see a killer trying to flirt, looking at the adult crying comically in a corner. Rene, and what are your names? Izuku, I'm Midoriya Izuku. Rene just raises an eyebrow, making Izuku nervous. Rene, Midoriya what? Not understanding the last part. Izuku, Izuku looking away. Stain, just tell me. Stain crying comically in the corner still. Rene, well, I came here for Shido and the boy who had interaction with him. Spirit. Stain and Izuku are just confused by the last thing. Izuku, and how do we know what a spirit is? Rene, I'm coming for you too. Midoriya. Izuku just takes a few steps back. You're the one who talked to the armored girl a few hours ago, right? Izuku just nods confused. Then you two will come with me. Stain, you will not take Midoriya. Not on my guard. Grabbing his sword and standing in front of Izuku. Izuku, now can I call you Mama? Stain? With chibi face embarrassing Stain for what Mama did. Stain, TSK boy, stop joking now, don't you see that they want to take you? Rene, we won't do anything bad, we are from a secret group that is trying to stop the spirits without harming them, making Stain lower his guard because of that. Stain, I'll let Midoriya go if I go with you. Rene nods. Izuku, Mama. Stain. Hee. Everyone laughs except Stain, who just hit Izuku. Izuku, Mama. Stain. Hee. Everyone laughs except Stain, who just hit Izuku. On a ship. We see a coterie sitting looking at the big screen in front of her along with several computers with workers. Coterie, they're coming, right? Looking at the screen at what Rene and the boys were doing, we'll have new workers and our savior Izuku grabbing a lollipop that was given to her by a long-haired blonde boy next to her. Kanazuki Kyohei is the vice president of this place and Kotori is the president of this place. Kanazuki, what's so special about that broccoli? Jealous snort. Kotori, you shut up. Oxygenated, putting the lollipop in her mouth. Kanazuki, it's natural. Believe. Kotori was about to answer him, but a door of the ship opened, showing Stain, Izuku, Shido and Rene entering the place. Rene, here are the facilities I wanted to show you. Walking and sitting on a chair, the president will tell you the rest. Pointing to Kotori, Shido upon seeing her runs to her crying comically. Shido, Kotori. Hugging him while Kotori only reciprocated the hug while she was being soaked by her brother's tears while she looked at Izuku, who upon feeling the gaze only turned away. Stain, is this little girl the president? With chibi face. Kotori, who are you calling dwarf? Stinky. Pointing at Stain. Stain, ha, not bad. That insult for a preschooler. Kotori just rushed to hit Stain. Kotori, repeat it to me, idiot. On top of Stain, shaking him. Stain, put this wild dwarf down to me. Kotori increased her strength. Everyone looked at the scene comically except Kanazuki, who looked on with envy for some strange reason. Shortly after. We see everyone calm now. Kotori decided to speak to clarify Izuku and company's doubts. Kotori, let's start with questions, I'll answer them. Waiting for a question from one of the three who spoke first. Shido. Shido, since when are you the president of this place? Kotori, oh, don't shout. But you've been here for a while. Another question pointing to Stain. Stain, what the hell are these things called spirits? Are they ghosts or what the hell? Kotori, spirits, you had contact with her, showing an image on the screen. Stain, only the boy talked to her, pointing to Izuku. Kotori, you see, she's a spirit, she's like some kind of super magical being from outer space. Stain, an alien. Kotori, well, more or less. Stain, damn, you've already decided what to call them. Izuku, president, what's wrong with me talking to her? Kotori, nothing, quite the opposite. Confusing Izuku, you raised his mood a little, that's why we sent for you, it seems you are the one to stop the spirits. Izuku, huh? Stain, are you telling me that loving them changes them or what? Kotori nods with a chibi face. Izuku, so that's all now, right? Kotori nods. Kotori, yes, come tomorrow we will teach you how to fight those spirits, putting stars in Izuku's eyes. Stain, let's go. Boy leaving the place and Izuku follows him. At Stain's house. Stain, we're doing well now, right? Looking at the payment slip he just made. Izuku, yes, I will finally study with stars in his eyes. Confusing Stain. Stain, you're weird, kid. I thought kids your age thought about other things. Izuku, huh? Stain, nothing boy nothing. I'll make your stupid katsudon taking out ingredients for dinner. Izuku, thanks mom. Stain turns to Stain and feels that he has a knife next to his cheek. It was a J joke, he sweating cold. The next day. Stain was making breakfast to go look for a job after breakfast and also for Izuku to go to school. Izuku, thanks. Stain nibbling on breakfast. Stain, you're welcome kid. Grabbing a newspaper to see if there's any work. Izuku, nothing yet? Stain just looks at him out of the corner of his eye, shaking his head. What bad luck. Stain, you're going to work after school, right? Izuku nods. Izuku, I won't have time to rest. Thinking that he's sleepy studying, working and training with Kotori. Stain, pour grabbing coffee. Izuku, see you later. Stain grabbing his backpack leaving the house, but before leaving the yard in front of the house a bag falls on his head. Huh? Stain, you're a lunch idiot. Going into the house. Izuku, thank you. Mama. Stain. Stain, I heard you. Opening the door of the house. Izuku, pause, what do I want them for? Running away. We can see Izuku running on his way to school. If you think that Izuku is running from Stain like before, no, he is not running from some dogs that were chasing him a few blocks back. Izuku, why I already lost them? Looking for the dogs, taking a breath and notices that they are no longer there now. Sighs going to school, looks in front and looks at the school. Did I run so much because I was being chased? According to me, I was half an hour from school and I got there in less than 13 minutes. Scratching his head. Izuku was going to go to school but someone spoke to him. Shido, Midoriya-kun. What a surprise to meet you arriving with Tanamachi. Izuku, yes, what a surprise. Itsuka-kun greeting him but looking at the black-haired man who was with him. Who are you? Tanamachi Hirito greeting him with a handshake. Izuku, nice to meet you, I'm Midoriya. Izuku smiling at him, the boy in front only covered his eyes because of a shine coming out of Izuku's teeth. Shido, how exaggerated. Tanamachi, you're a jerk, should I put you down? Shido just narrowed his eyes. Izuku, how about we go inside? They both nod. The three of them enter the academy and go to the classroom, but Izuku is not allowed to enter until the teacher arrives to introduce him. When teacher Tammy arrived she let him pass, but Izuku noticed that the teacher arrived with Reine. Izuku, Murasame-san? Looking at the silver-haired girl. Reine, hello Izuku. Unwillingly. Izuku just awkwardly and blushing at how he was named enter the classroom. Tammy, hey guys, yesterday was the first day of the semester. The first day didn't go as well as we would have liked, so we'll try to make the second day better, okay? Everyone nods and looks at the two who were with the teacher. Tabayachi, that boy, looking at Izuku. Tammy, they are pointing at Izuku to introduce himself. Izuku, I'm Midoriya. Izuku with a small bow. Tammy, and she's the new support teacher pointing to Reine. Reine, I'm Usurame Reine, I teach physics. Nice to meet you. She was about to fall asleep on the floor but Izuku catches her before she crashes to the ground. Tammy, phew. I thought he was going to hit himself. Do you know what Midoriya-kun has? Izuku nods. Izuku, she's just sleeping. Everyone gets a drop in their temple. I think it's because of overwork. Tammy, hey. Izuku went to leave Reine to rest in the infirmary with the teacher. Tabayachi looked at that, but noticed something that others didn't. She had seen some small greenish flashes coming out of Izuku when he grabbed Reine. Tabayachi, yes, it is him. Will he be a spirit? He didn't think there were male spirits. Or did he? Looking where Izuku went. Later time. We see the bell ringing for the end of classes, but Izuku and Shido went to Reine in the physical preparation room. Shido and Izuku entered the place. The first thing they saw was Reine and Kotori in front of some screens. Shido, why is she suddenly a teacher here? Arriving where they are with Izuku. Izuku, yes. What is it, Analysis Officer Murasame? With eyes narrowed. Reine, just call me Reine. Izuku looking at Izuku. Izuku just blushed and looked away. Shido, can I tell you that too? Reine, sure, Shintaro. Making Izuku's blush quickly go away. Shido, it's Shido. Reine, oh my mistake, Shin. Shido, are you even trying to say it right? Izuku, that's not the point. Reine-san, what are you doing here? Reine, no honorifics. Izuku please, and I'm here to help you. Pointing at Izuku. Izuku, me? Help me with what? Kotori, did you forget? Izuku. You can. Reine, it's to help you disable the power of the spirits. Izuku. Oh. Right then, how will you help me? Kotori. Reine, show him the training software. Reine nods and Izuku was with stars in his eyes thinking that they would teach him fighting forms. But to Izuku's misfortune he only saw a simulator. Izuku, it's reads the name a dating simulator? Confused and disappointed. Kotori, what? You don't like me low-class worm? Izuku just gets nervous because of the girl screams. Izuku, it's not W what? Screams at the end when he is tackled by Kotori and she climbs on top of him. Shido, Kotori. Get off of him. Reine just watched what was happening to Izuku with a small smile. Izuku, put this crazy thing down. Kotori starts jumping on Izuku's stomach, knocking the air out of him. Shido, Kotori. Reine, what a good job. Watching the comic scene that the three of them do. Watching the comical scene what the three of them do. Shortly after. Izuku, and what am I going to do with that simulator? Kotori, well, play it. Shido, that's the game that Tanamachi has. Kotori, no, look closely. Shido approaches the screen. Shido, my little Izuku? Izuku, I am who of what? Reine, that simulator is made for you. Izuku now understands. Izuku, and why am I going on a date with a game to beat super beings? Confused and Shido nods in agreement with him. Kotori, well, don't you remember that you're going to disable his powers? Not kill him or knock him out. Izuku, oh. Sorry the custom referring to his hero battles in which they have to defeat the villains or some villains even die. He scratched his cheek embarrassed and the other three looked at him strangely about the last thing. Izuku, what's wrong? Kotori, what do you mean, you're used to killing or knocking people out? Staring at Izuku. Izuku just swallowed hard, he knew he would have to lie or tell them the truth. Obviously he opted for the truth since he is not good at lying. Izuku, well. Sigh, I'll tell you. I'm from another dimension. Everyone just looks seriously at Izuku. Why you don't believe me? Kotori and Reine, not at all. Shido, yes, I created you. The other two just turned to look at him. What? He pulled out super strength from his fingers in the form of a shot and had super abilities apart from releasing green rays. Remembering the fight that happened before. Kotori, is it a spirit? Or is it a human from another dimension? Kotori opted for the most obvious, let's get him. She shouted at Reine who also thought the same. Izuku, ah. He began to flee the place with his full cowl leaving everyone behind. Kotori, shit. Reine, I think he's human. After all, he lives with a guy who knows him, spirits don't usually live with anyone. Kotori, then let's go to his house to give him the simulator and apologize, okay? Reine nods. Shido, the poor guy was scared away. Kotori, and why didn't you tell us about his powers before? Shido, well, I didn't see it necessary. Raising his arms. With Izuku. We see Izuku enter his house where he lives with Stain. Upon entering he leaves his backpack, takes off his usual red shoes and looks at Stain mopping. Izuku, hi mama. Stain he passing by Stain. Stain, TSK kid, you have to work don't you? Izuku just turned pale. I love seeing those faces remembering when I was a murderer. Izuku, speaking of jobs, haven't you found any? Grabbing things to make food. Stain, well, when you left, I left the house to do a job interview. I hope they accept me. Putting down the mop. Izuku, you missed it there, mama. Stain pointing out where Stain didn't mop but the adult just stops his finger and goes to his room. How delicate. Starting to cook. After eating. Izuku was going to leave the house to go to work but when he opens the door we see Kotori, Reine, Shido, and Kanazuki. Kanazuki, where did you leave it? With the computer in his arms. The computer is a desktop computer, it also comes with a screen and accessories. V. Izuku, huh? What are you doing here? Getting on guard. Kotori, we come to DDDDD. Reine, we came to apologize. Lightly hitting Kotori's head. Kotori, why yes, PPPP gets hit again. TSK sorry with a pout looking away. Izuku just did what he does best, giving a Midoriya-style smile. Izuku, there's nothing to apologize for. With her smile Kotori only blushed avoiding Izuku's gaze again. Reine, why yes with a slight blush. Kanazuki, where the fuck do I put it? Screams scaring everyone as his computer was about to fall. Izuku, Sorry, he scratching his cheek. Let me grab it, grabbing things as if it were nothing, leaving Kanazuki with his eyes open since he couldn't even move due to the weight of things. Kanazuki, how much? I was going to speak but Reine speaks. Reine, he's a super boy. Kanazuki understood quickly. Kanazuki, lucky boy. Izuku, if I knew I never had this power, and what are these things for? Kotori, for your training sucking a lollipop. Shido, I feel like I'm painted. Izuku, thanks, but the computer wasn't necessary. Reine, keep it, after all you will use it later without giving it much importance. Izuku, thanks for the stuff, do you want to come in? Everyone nods and goes to sit in the living room. Kotori, for a boy's house it's very tidy sucking her lollipop. Izuku, what are you implying? With eyes narrowed, I still live with someone, now he's back going to leave his things in his room. Kanazuki, my back was already hurting. Lying down on the sofa. Kotori, nay, go do some exercise, that thing doesn't weigh that much, even I can catch them with a proud tone. Kanazuki, then why didn't you carry them? Kotori, I didn't want to get my hands dirty with a nervous tone. Reine, it's obvious that you're lying. Shido, and Izuku? Kotori, did you not hear? Turns to the entrance of the room and looks at Stain. A thief. Standing behind the chair. Stain, you know me, don't you, girl? Sitting next to Reine, who moved away a little. Kotori, it's just that without your red ribbon on your head you look uglier, leaving a depressive aura on Stain. Stain, am I that bad? I asked Reine, who nodded. Izuku, do you want something to drink? Entering the room. Kotori, yes. A soft drink. Shido, a glass of water, please. Kanazuki, your whole bottle of water. Thirsty scream, but Kotori hits him, who instead of making an expression of pain put one of happiness, confusing everyone except Kotori and Reine. Stain, bring me a cup of coffee, kid. Izuku, you are not a lazy guest, besides I don't have 5 arms to carry so many glasses. Stain, who understood, went to help him bring the glasses. And you, Reine-san? Reine, a cup of coffee with lots of sugar please, confusing Stain because of the lots of sugar, even though Izuku knew she didn't sleep well at all. Izuku, right away, he said in a butler tone. Some time later. We see everyone saying goodbye as they leave the place. Stain, did you go to work? He asked Izuku, who fainted upon noticing that I think he'll get fired on the first day. He going to the classroom. At night. In Izuku's room we can see Broccoli playing the simulator. Izuku, I'm still bothered by the fact that the character I'm falling in love with is the same as Kotori. Looking at the character, I've already completed it, I thought it would take longer. Looking at how quickly the game ended, I think it wouldn't have suited others. Izuku, now. I don't think I have to date anyone, do I? Or do I? It's much harder to do it in person than in a game. Starting to exaggerate. Stain, yeah, go to sleep you crying brat. Screams from his room. Izuku, I don't think I could go on a date without getting nervous. Throwing himself onto his bed and falling asleep quickly. Izuku, the bad thing about studying is that I have to get up early. With a sleepy face, but he still got up to go to the bathroom to take a shower with cold water to get up quickly. A few seconds later. Izuku, kya? It was heard from Stain's room, who suddenly stood up. Stain, Midoriya. Entering Izuku's room but sees that he's not there. Midoriya? Confused and with his sword ready to attack, thinking that someone had entered the house. Izuku, I'm fine, it was just ice cold water. Screams from the bathroom. Stain, you idiot boy, you wake me up with that unmanly scream. Where's your honor, trash? Izuku, you worried about me, Mama? Stain. Screams in a mocking tone. Stain, if you call me that again I'm going to go in the bathroom and cut off the only thing that defines you as a man. Stain, not receiving an answer, goes to his room to take a shower and also to go to his job interview. Minutes later. We see Izuku ready to leave and grabs his lunch made by Stain, who left him the food before leaving. Izuku, Stain is now the closest thing to a family member. What things, from being tried to be killed by the term being his roommate. I think he is also the closest thing to a father that I have had without counting Almith. I wonder. How are they there? Looking at a box that was in a piece of furniture, that box had Izuku's hero suit. In UA. All the heroes were trying to get the parents to try not to take their children out of school. They found out what happened to the hero killer and a future hero from Tomura, who took advantage of making Stain and Izuku disappear with Kurogiri's help. They recorded live on all the screens in the city about the informative video of that topic. Everyone in the end believed him, since he had exactly one of Izuku's objects that he dropped in battle. In the video, Tomura showed Izuku's student card. He disintegrated it in the video. Everyone there began to think that this was the reason why they couldn't find him. The League of Villains had the hero killer and the young man. We see Nezu trying to calm a small crowd that was in front of the hero school. Nezu, calm down. We already have a search party to try to find young Midoriya. And to find out the whereabouts of the hero killer. All the parents just snorted and had to rely on them. Some parents had already taken their children out of the academy. One of those they took out was Momo Yaoyorozu, and others were placed in other schools ready to start there. No one trusted UA as much as before. They also knew how Tenya Ida was left. He still can't study and much less train since what happened in that alley. When the internships ended, Nezu had planned to go to a camp with the Pussycats, but now they can't anymore because parents don't want them to go far from the city with their children because of danger, much less in a forest where they can catch them tired from training. It would be the best time for the villains to act. All myth. Midoriya Shonen, he thought while watching Inko cry among the people who were there. He has been trying to calm her down, trying to get her to calm down, but he can't calm her down in any way. Just by going out with Mitsuki she usually calms down at least a little, but she cries again at the end of the day. All Might only has to go after those villains to try to find his disciple and future hero. All myth. I hope you are well, Midoriya Shonen, he thought looking at the sky. Where Izuku? He was walking, looking at the sky, until he finally arrived at school. At school time, Izuku had to go to where Reine was in the physics classroom. Upon arriving at the hall, Reine quickly approached Izuku and put her hands on Izuku's cheeks, making him blush to unimaginable levels. Izuku, our Reine-san. Reine, Izuku. Getting closer to his face. Izuku, Fime G gonna kiss me, without objecting for some reason. Reine moved away from Izuku as she put an earpiece on Izuku and looked at how Izuku's lips were ready for a kiss and with his eyes closed. Reine, Izuku, no formalities please, and stop kissing the air, going to the machines that were there. Izuku, why am I so disappointed? He thought in a depressed tone without knowing. Reine, what did you think Izuku was doing? With a slight blush that was noticed by Izuku. Izuku, and nothing, scratching his cheek, looking away embarrassed. Reine, I put a hearing device on your right ear to communicate with you, you just have to press the black button to be able to talk to us. Izuku nods. That's when Kotori comes in with her typical palette along with Shido. Shido, hello Midoriya-kun, greeting him. Izuku, hello Itsuka-kun. Kotori, it's time for you to go do your real training. Izuku just put stars in his eyes. Shortly after, Izuku stood with a chibi face looking at Tammy in front of him. Tammy, what did you want to talk to me about, Midoriya-kun? Said his teacher with folders in her arms. Izuku, why did I trust that it would be real training? Crying comically and sighs, hi did he ruin the moment like always? He thought, sweating dramatically. Tammy, why are you sweating so much? It's not that hot. Izuku, how did I get to this? He asked in a whisper to the microphone. Kotori, it's your training so that the spirits fall in love with you. Izuku only did the best he knows how to do. Blushing like a huge idiot over things like this, so don't be a coward and start training, licking his lollipop. Izuku, couldn't I train with Reine? Reine, where she was just blushed looking at the screen, and Kotori looked at that out of the corner of her eye. Kotori, no, that doesn't work that way, you have to do it with someone who doesn't know what we do. Izuku nods, tell him some compliments or something, you don't have to go directly. Tammy, Midoriya-kun? Izuku, Tammy-sensei. Those clothes you're wearing look so good on you. Embarrassed, he looks away and Tammy blushes, embarrassed too. Tammy, thank you Midoriya-kun, I feel so flattered, putting a hand on her cheek with a blush. Izuku, why yes, it suits him too good, and that haircut and those glasses, embarrassed on another level for detailing him. Reine, now tell him something without flattery. Izuku nods. Izuku, since I arrived at school I suddenly felt like coming more and more every time, covering his face. Tammy, oh, I'm glad to hear that, smiling at her. Izuku, how shameful. I just want to run now, I'm glad that you touched I say you touched me as a teacher, correcting himself quickly, embarrassed after all, you made me fall in love. Tammy, what are you talking about? With a blush, adjusting her glasses at that confession. We can't be like that, although I'm happy that you feel that way. Looking away, Izuku only got confused by that last part, now he wanted to run faster. Kotori, come on Izuku, don't stay like that, tell him already. Shito, Izuku? Izuku, get serious Izuku, mentally slapping himself, yes it hurt, crying comically I'm serious, these feelings are real, I wanna cry and run out of here, I wanna marry you. Tammy just stood in shock. Tammy, why you're seriously? With eyes wide open. Izuku nods nervously, when he was about to leave Tammy grabs his hands, scaring him because the sensei had a pink aura. Izuku, no way, with a terrified face. Tammy, do you realize that in order for you to be old enough to get married, I'll be over 30? Are you okay with that? Approaching Izuku. Izuku, I do not agree at all, scared by the teacher's closer approach. Tammy, are you going to come meet my parents and ask for my hand in marriage in front of them? Izuku mentally shook his head. Are you planning on becoming their son-in-law? Reine, you can run away from there now Izuku. Izuku, upon hearing that, runs like lightning from there, leaving the teacher alone. Kotori, apparently they do work with single women over 25 years old sucking her lollipop. Reine, yeah, now he has to do it with someone his own age. Kotori nods. Izuku, while running through the hallways at great speed, accidentally bumps into Tabayachi in the middle of walking, knocking Tabayachi far away. Izuku, sorry. Going to pick up Tabayachi. Tabayachi, that strength is not normal at all, looking at Izuku's hand who stretched out his hand to lift her, she accepts the hand being lifted by Izuku pervert. Looking at how she had her skirt lifted a little showing her panties and Izuku quickly denies. Izuku, I didn't do that on purpose. Tabayachi just covers his panties well and Izuku lifts him up. Kotori, now try with her Izuku. Izuku just rolls his eyes and sighs. Izuku, sorry again Tabayachi-san. I can't with her. I don't know anything about her. I know sensei better, Tabayachi-san vuch I've been thinking lately about we could have a go out together moving away little by little while Kotori shook her head. Those clothes look good on you. Notes what the uniform is, I'm an idiot, crying comically. Tabayachi, yes, it's our uniform. Kotori, useless baka. Do it right coward. Izuku, I don't know anything about her, it's that she goes well with you confusing the girl and Izuku noticing it decides to detail how he did it with his sensei. It's that why your skin and your white hair go too well with the black of your skin blushing the girl slightly without noticing it and sighs. Why do you think it's okay to go out one D-day together? Ready for a no. Tabayachi, sure Midoriya-kun with a blush and Izuku noticing it keeps a chibi face. Izuku, did it work? Tabayachi, do you think we can leave in a few days? Starting to look for something. Izuku, sure. How about Friday? This being Wednesday to have a free day to think about tomorrow. Tabayachi, sounds good to me and here giving Izuku a photo. Izuku, huh? Looking at her. Izuku, he even gave it to me autographed, thanks Tabayachi-san. Izuku, he even gave it to me autographed, thanks Tabayachi-san. But why did you give it to me? I don't want to be rude but it's yours, right? Tabayachi, you told me that you like how I look with her, so you can see me with her whenever you want. Izuku just blushed at that. Izuku, well, thanks. Putting it away I already had to go. Tabayachi nods and approaches him, what is he doing? Tabayachi stopped as the school alarms began to sound indicating a spatial wave in the school area. Izuku, here? Tabayachi, go to the one where the others are. Midoriya-kun. Izuku nods, but then shakes his head right? Izuku, I'm not going. Much less if you don't go, you won't be safe. Tabayachi just blushed big, but quickly shook his head. Tell me first. Why aren't you going to the safety zone? Tabayachi, don't yell at me Midoriya-kun, we'll talk later. Leaving a paper to Izuku and runs away fleeing the place. Izuku, Tabayachi-san. He was going to go after her but Reine speaks to him. Reine, the spirit has already appeared at school. Izuku, go to her. Izuku nods and looks at the paper that Tabayachi gave him where her phone number was. Izuku, I still don't have a phone. Crying comically remembering that Stain destroyed his cell phone in another dimension. Izuku arrives where he identifies the spirit. Izuku, I have to help her, looking that it was the same girl with armor as a few days ago, remembering the sad face she had that day. Izuku was going to enter where the spirit was but a voice stops him. Kotori, we have help for options. Izuku. We will say what you have to say. Izuku shakes his head. What? What do you mean, baka? Izuku, I'll do it, after all I already trained for this, right? Kotori couldn't say anything against that. Now I'll take care of this, wish me luck entering the classroom. Kotori, Good luck Izuku Baka. Izuku takes off his earpiece much to Kotori's disgust. Izuku, thank you. Kotori-san, he said to the microphone, putting it in his pocket. You? Again? The purple armored spirit said. Izuku, sorry about our meeting last time. Yes, I remember you were with an ugly guy. Izuku, if only I knew what he said to her, yes, it's very ugly. But let's leave that aside, why are you harming this place? Or this planet? The girl just made a disgusted face at that. I think you're now the only human I've talked to, I'm doing this because they're trying to kill me, don't you see? Pointing to a place in the sky where some flying girls with weapons were coming. Izuku, I don't know them, I just remember that they tried to attack you, can I give you a hand? The girl just puts on a half smile. Thank you, human. Izuku, I have a question before this. The girl just looks at him out of the corner of her eye. Do you have a name? Name? Don't you have one? Izuku nods. Then what is it? Izuku, Midoriya Izuku. Then how about you can give me a name? Creating a shield as he starts being shot. Izuku, don't you think we should finish them off? Forget about them for now, I want to have a name, otherwise I won't be able to get this out of my head. Izuku, oh. Okay, approaching the blackboard and grabs a chalk hum. What do you think? Momo? Putting the name there but gets hit in the head by the girl. Hey. Making the girl laugh at the reaction. That name seems silly. How about another one? Izuku nods. Izuku, so. Oh, Chako isn't terrible. Kyoka? What do you think? Toka? Toka, yes. It's better than Momo. Izuku, then from today on. Your name will be Toka. Pointing it on the board. Toka, what did you put there? Looking at the board. Izuku, that's how you spell your name. Toka, oh, she started writing too, but with a kind of laser beam with her finger now. I want to ask you something. She said seriously, and Izuku nods at that. Toka, what purpose do you come to talk to me for? Pointing her sword at Izuku. Izuku, wait. I thought we were already friends. Toka, no. I don't even know why you're helping me. Tell me, what purpose do you have in coming to do all this, Midoriya? Izuku just gulped and spoke. Izuku, I want to know you better, Toka, even if it doesn't concern me, even if you ignore me. I can't let you be like this. The world hasn't done anything wrong to you. Toka, and what do you think they are trying, pointing at those who shoot them, leaving Izuku with a funny face. Izuku, well, they are trying to get you not to destroy what we have taken so long to do and not destroy our peace in the world. He spoke seriously except for his first stutter. Toka, so. I'm the problem? Izuku, I didn't say it that way. I meant that I can show you how incredible this world is and so that you can live in it. Toka, then swear to me. Izuku, I swear. I'm serious. Toka, swear on your life. Izuku, I swear on my life. Toka, Midoriya. HHMMP. I won't let you fool me with your words. Crossing her arms, great Baka. Izuku, Baka. He called me Baka. Well, it's not new that they call me that, crying comically, but listen, Toka, but you know. I don't know what you're doing, you're the first human I've interacted with. I'll use you as an information object for this world. Izuku, am I an object now? Crying profusely, I wanted to ask you something. Putting on his earpiece to communicate with Kotori. Is this a good time to ask her? Kotori, sure. Date. Everyone in the place started screaming. Toka, what did you want to ask? Not noticing that I whisper in a few moments. Izuku, Toka, would you like to go on a date with me? Looking away, blushing. Toka, date? A piece of debris falls next to Izuku, and the girls who are shooting notice that someone is with Toka. Tabayachi was one of those shooting and notices that it is Izuku and prepares his weapon that he used before against Toka a few days ago. Tabayachi went to them quickly. Toka, what is a date? Izuku, you'll see. Tabayachi, Izuku. Hitting Toka's shield and standing in front of Izuku. Izuku, Tabayachi? Toka, you again? Tabayachi, I won't forgive you for using him as a hostage, getting into combat stance. Toka, Sandahalpan, she said, hitting the ground and surrounding herself in a purple and red light on the ground and hitting in front, giving a gust of air to Tabayachi and Izuku, moving them away but affecting Tabayachi much more. Tabayachi, how can she last so long? I asked, looking at Izuku before she lost consciousness. Toka left the place, leaving Izuku alone, who quickly left when he saw that they were going to ask him things. Later. Izuku lay down on the couch when he got home. Staying, nice? Looking at Izuku lying on his legs, who quickly got up. Izuku, sorry. Bowing a lot. Staying, calm down kid, looks like you had a long day. Looking at Izuku covered in dust, did a roof fall on you or what? Izuku, well almost. Staying, well, it seems that doesn't change in this universe. Izuku laughs with him. Do you miss our universe? Drinking coffee. Izuku, well yes, I miss my friends. My teacher and especially my mother. Staying, oh. I'm great here boy, I don't plan on going back. I'll never go to that universe again. You should do the same boy, it's much calmer here, they don't usually see fights everywhere, only when a spirit appears, and that usually happens very rarely according to the people around here. Izuku, well, I don't think I could convince my mother to come live in this world. Or could I? Staying, who doesn't? The world is easier here, I even got a job, although you were fired without even working for missing the first day. Izuku, there was no need to repeat it to me. Staying, you're welcome, kid. Taking a drop out of Izuku's temple. I'm sure your mother would love to live here, kid, believe it or not, I'm starting to get attached to you. Putting his hand on Izuku's head. The good thing about not being in that universe is that I left everything behind. Tell me, what does that world think of you? Izuku, well. Staying, do you know how they treat people with bad quirks? Those who don't have a quirk? Izuku put his face in shadow, his hair covering his eyes. They only treat people with intelligence and super quirks well. Boy, surely if you hadn't been given that quirk you have, you wouldn't have been chosen for the UA. Izuku just looked at the ground. Are you sure you want to go back? Izuku, no. Thanks for being with me now. Kaizomi putting a smile on the assassin when he was called by his name. Staying, yeah, let's leave that world behind. Boy drinking his coffee. Do you want to go out to eat somewhere? Izuku nods. Go get changed, I'll wait for you. Izuku went to his room seriously. Izuku, sorry Almith. But I can't go to that world anymore. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't. I can't travel between separate worlds. What Kaizomi said is true. I have a better life now. Real friends. Surely if I had met those in my class without a quirk, they wouldn't have talked to me, or maybe they would act like Kachan. Remembering his moments at UA and before entering it. If you come I will try to bring her here, referring to his mother, and throws his hero suit in the trash along with his red tennis shoes. See you never. Deku going to Stain's. Ready, let's go. Already changed. Stain, I'll do the same as you. Grabbing his Stain suit and throws it in the trash. There's none of that here anymore boy, now it's just Kaizomi, Kagero and Midoriya. Izuku nods and they go to eat. We see Izuku wake up newer than ever. He finally left his old self behind and stopped worrying about that world. There was only a bit of that world in his mind. Inko Midoriya. Her mother can't believe she can't see her anymore, but Stain managed to calm her down the day before about it. Izuku was walking through the house to go to the kitchen to have breakfast, thinking about when his date with Tabayachi would be, that outing being tomorrow. Izuku, Tabayachi-san. Looking at the photo that the girl left him, but then someone snatches it away. Stain, what a shame. You already have a girlfriend, huh? Rascal elbowing him while looking at the photo. Izuku, see Kaizomi, give it back to me please. He noticing what he was yelling at him, he quickly became embarrassed. Stain, ha, you don't want me to meet your girlfriend, huh? Izuku just blushed, shaking his head, huh? What do you mean no? Izuku, well, you'll see, tomorrow I'll go out on a date with her. Stain hugs her, huh? Replies, confused. Stain, that's it boy, we've only been here for almost a week and you're already going to have a girlfriend, how lucky you are. Broccoli a little angry at Izuku. Izuku, Joe. Don't tell me that. Stain, okay Izuku, are you going to have breakfast now? Showing the breakfast. Izuku, thanks Kaizomi. Stain smiled since he no longer calls him Stain. Stain, Izuku, are you going to study today? Looking at Izuku's uniform and the broccoli nods. Izuku, why do you ask? Stain, I heard there was a spirit attack at your school, next time ask me for help if you need it, although I'm sure you'll manage without me, right? Izuku, of course Kaizomi, I hope today goes well. Looking at the ceiling. Stain, I have to go now. Looking at the time, close the door when you leave. Izuku nods. Izuku, Kaizomi, what do you do for a living? Making Stain stop. Stain, lawyer's job, amazing, huh? Adjusting his tie with a proud tone. Izuku, really? Stain, you don't trust my boy? Izuku, well yes you are the one I trust the most now. Good luck at work. Kaizome. Stain nods with a smile, leaving the house now. Go to school. Grabbing his backpack. At school. Izuku, it's totally closed. Looking at the closed buildings indicating that there were no classes today. Damn. Izuku passes by the school building in which it was badly destroyed yesterday by Toka and those who attacked the girl. Izuku, Toka. Looking at a piece of the blackboard thrown away, noticing that it was the part of the name that she wrote last night. Izuku was going to leave but he is named Toka. Izuku looks up from the rubble of the building looking at Toka. It took you a long time to get here, great baka. She said, cursing Izuku but with a smile that spread to the boy. Izuku, what are you doing here? We haven't had another space wave, looking at Toka who is approaching him. Toka, baka. You asked me out on a date. Getting down from the rubble. Izuku, true, blank face. Toka, so Izuku, come on, let's go on that date. Putting her hands on her hips. Date, D. Izuku, oh okay, I understand. Embarrassed of how he got too close to him when saying date. If he continues like this I'm going to fa feign, with spiral eyes. Izuku, to start, I don't think you'd be using that armor on a date. Pointing to Toka. Toka, what do you think? Izuku, it's just that this is my first time that I've gone on a date. Embarrassed. Toka, you invited me to something you've never done before? Izuku, well why yes hey laughing exaggeratedly embarrassed. Toka, well, what clothes did he wear? Izuku, how about my clothes? Toka: well. Izuku, wait, I have a better idea. Showing Tobiachi's picture. Put on this better one. Toka, well, but why do you have this foe? Izuku, don't ask. Embarrassed. Toka just sighed, tore up the photo and began to surround herself in a magenta glow, showing off her school clothes. Toka, how are you? Are you okay? Izuku, sure, looking at how good it looked on him. Toka, then let's go on that date. Leaving with Izuku. Shortly after, we see Izuku and Toka walking through stalls and shops. Izuku stops as he watches Toka put her face in a window where there are types of breads and food. Izuku, do you want? Toka nods and they go to the stand. Izuku, here, handing him a sweet bread with filling. Toka, no. Is it poisoned? Izuku, of course not. Toka, don't you trust me? Toka just approached the bread and instead of grabbing it, she bit it. Izuku, hey? Looking at Toka who didn't even move after biting the bread. Toka? Toka, ha! So delicious. Snatching the bread from Izuku and starting to eat it. Is this a date? Eating. Izuku, it's a bread covered with sweet and with filling. He looking at Toka with a funny face. Toka, no? This isn't a date? How is something delicious not a date? Izuku, well it's an outing between people who want a con. Toka, so? Izuku, you didn't let me finish. Toka, date. Screams, running to a banderia stand upon smelling the roasted sausage. Where did so many people come from all of a sudden? Looking at many people passing by them. Izuku looked at Toka thinking they were a threat, but she stops him. Izuku, they are not bad people. Toka grabbing Toka's hand but quickly removing it, blushing. Toka, no? Izuku, you see, these people come to buy things, hang out and stuff, some are even making a date. Toka, you didn't finish telling me what a date was. Izuku, well, you interrupted me. Toka, what's stopping you? Izuku, a date is C. Izuku is interrupted again by a child who passed by him leaving trash in a trash can. Child, look mom, I threw away my trash, he said happily to his mother who congratulated him by stroking his head. Toka, seeing that, throws the trash in the same place as the child and runs to Izuku. Izuku, very well. Toka caressing her head, noticing why that was the reason she made him throw away the trash. Toka, is this a date? Izuku, well, sort of. Toka, it's so complex. What is that place? Izuku, running to another food stall. Izuku, wait for me. Toka, your stomach is going to hurt if you keep eating. Going to the girl. What the two didn't know is that Tobiachi was in a hidden part watching them. Tobiachi, the spirit, and Izuku, watching Izuku run. I still don't know. Is he a spirit? Take out a cell phone. This is Sergeant Origami Tabayachi, A6013, I want a monitoring device for my location. With Izuku. Izuku, T Toka, you sure run. Looking at Toka in front of a store. Toka, what is this place Izuku? Izuku, I don't know. It looks like a place to eat again. Looks at the sign and notices that it says Yamazaki lunch menu. Toka, if you don't know then let's find out entering the stand. Izuku was going to enter with her but Tanamachi appears. Tanamachi, ha, Midoriya-kun on a date? Noticing that Toka has entered the place, here are some for you. My young friend handing him some coupons to enter for free to eat since I don't have anyone to go with, it's better for you. Izuku, thank you very much. I forgot his last name, Tanamachi-kun. Tanamachi, come on inverted, tell me Hiroto, that's my last name Midoriya-kun. Izuku, sorry Hiroto-kun see you later entering Toka's. Toka, Izuku. Screams from a table. The place seems somewhat normal, without so many people, but these people watch Toka's movements attentively without her noticing. Izuku, hey Toka. He was going to go to her but someone stops him. Reine, good morning. She said with a notebook and in a maid outfit. Izuku, are Reine ni? Blushing looking at Reine's outfit, who upon noticing it hit him in the face with the notebook, silencing him. Reine, baka. Don't look at me like that. With a slight blush. Do you know that the princess avoided the radars and returned to this world? Pointing to Toka. Izuku, yeah? Izuku said that and went to Toka. Toka, what are we going to eat, Izuku? Izuku, well. He was going to speak but as always, they interrupt him. Kotori, what are you going to order? In a maid outfit. Izuku, ko Koto gets hit in the face by Kotori's tray. Toka didn't even know they were fighting as she was looking for the date on the menu. Kotori, if you haven't decided, how about we give you our devastating special? Toka and Izuku, devastating? In that. Boom. It sounded on the table as he left that tremendous devastator. Izuku denied eating so much, maybe it was good for his health to eat a lot, but this is everything and it is not very good for his exercise. Toka without hesitation grabs food as she can. Toka, this is so good. Izuku, he doesn't even know what a date is yet, sighs denying that his first date was going out with someone he doesn't even know what it means. What are you planning? He asked Kotori. Kotori, giving her more chances to fall more in love with you, smiling somewhat forcibly into Izuku's eyes. When you finish here take her to the south of the station. Broccoli nods. Izuku, but it's a residential area. Kotori, it doesn't matter, just go, putting a hand on Izuku's shoulder as she leaves the place. Izuku goes there with Toka and they see what is open, much to Izuku's surprise. Izuku, what's going on over there? Looking at many stalls. Toka, Izuku look. Pointing to the fish in the water, there's a red one. Izuku, yeah, they say it's 3 times faster. Looking at the red fish, don't bite them alive under any circumstances. Toka just snorted and went with him to the residential area. Upon arrival. Boom. Confetti sounded. Sir, you are our 100,000th customers. That's why we'll give you a special service of eating all you want. Toka's eyes were full of stars and Izuku was just confused. Izuku, I don't think anyone was allowed to do this. How did Kotori-san do it? The vendors welcomed them and the two of them started eating even though Izuku was barely eating anything anymore. Toka could compete in a comedy competition right now and win by overwhelming her opponent. Reine and Kanazuki were watching what was happening on the ship. Fucking weird group, it seems they teleport. Kanazuki, look how happy the girl is watching Toka eat like a tiger, without getting a response from Reine. Are you jealous of the princess? Or are you angry that President Kotori won't let you go out with Midoriya? Haha, mockingly looking at a blushing Reine. Reine, idiot. I shouldn't have told you anything. Besides, it's not that. Kanazuki, so you admit it? Ha 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 ha. Dancing in a very strange way. Reine, TSK. Blushing, she looked away, increasing the blonde's laughter. Yeah. I really think that at some point the AST people will come. She refers to the group where Tabayachi works, in which they treat the spirits in a very offensive and aggressive way, trying to kill the spirit. Kanazuki, oh. Well, there is a chance. With Izuku. Izuku, I think that's a lot. Looking at Toka eating a hamburger tower, but it's Toka talking to him. Toka, Izuku. Aren't you having fun? With a slightly sad face, noticing that Izuku wasn't very amused so far. I've had a great time, but you're being very quiet. And you don't seem to enjoy it lowering your head. Izuku, it's not like that. Toka, really? Izuku, sure, it's just that I've been thinking something personal, he scratching his cheek. Toka, so you're having fun? Izuku, sure. Toka, you're not lying, right? Izuku, no, I'm actually having fun, smiling at him, blushing and putting the same smile on Toka's face with the same blush as his. Toka, then let's go eat together. Grabbing Izuku's hand, who blushed even more. Izuku, so you already realized what a date is, smiling at him. Toka, isn't this a date? Smiling happily along with a blush. Izuku, then I'll go with you wherever you want. Walking hand in hand to more stalls with Toka. In another universe, we see professional heroes ready to attack in a tavern. Almith, we're coming for you, Midoriya Shonen. His blue eyes begin to shine with a great amount of light, showing his determination. What's up, people? They thought I was going to leave the world of BNHA behind. Not my people. 3 I'm the best. Izuku and Toka are in front of a structure where they can enter hot springs. Toka, this is where we're going in. Pointing to the structure. Izuku, and no tea that I didn't come in. Grabbing Toka's hand and taking her somewhere else. Toka, but the date. With a slight blush. When they were leaving, Tabayachi was watching them from another alley there. Tabayachi, Midoriya. I'm going to take you away from her, bring me to these coordinates. My armor grabs a piece of the wall, his weapons appearing. I don't know how the hell they do that. With Izuku. Izuku, hey? It's raining. Drops fell on them, let's go. Hustling up his pace with Toka, who was following him. At the end of the run, they entered a place with hook machines to take cover from the rain. Taking advantage of this, Izuku took Toka to play. Toka, what is this place? Is it the mecha's secret base? Looking at all the grappling machines. Izuku, and no, Toka-san, they're just machines to have fun and win prizes, like those, pointing to some stuffed animals inside the machines. Toka, oh. Then I want those over there. Going to a machine where it seems the prizes were stuffed animals in the shape of bread? Izuku, well. Not believing that he chose that one from so many there are. Toka was hoping to use the machine, and Izuku inserted some coins. Izuku, you can use it now. Toka quickly appears in front of the machine, tries to grab it but fails. Toka, oh. Why can't you grab it, you weak hook? Putting her face on the glass of the machine. Izuku, why don't you try another one? Like that one, pointing to a cat one. Toka, no. I want this, crossing her arms and pouting. Izuku, don't you open a similar one? Looks at a machine and sees a man disguised as Hook. Sir, I can grab it for you. Screams into the machine. Izuku, that's going too far, Kotori-san, then how about we try it together? Looking at Toka, who nodded. Izuku, I'll move it and you grab it. Toka nods. Izuku manages to put him right and Toka grabs him perfectly, and they take him to where he has to fall, but he falls halfway. Izuku, damn. Toka, fall. Putting her fists on the machine, fall. Why don't you fall? Pressing the button, fall, please. Izuku just looked at her, being very dramatic about it, but who is he to say that when as a child he cried because he couldn't grab an All Might toy? Toka, please. Putting her face on the button, and suddenly the stuffed animal falls into the machine's exit. Oh. Raising her head. Toka and Izuku turn to look at each other with a smile. Toka and Izuku, it's fallen. After that dramatic scene of Toka, we see Izuku and Toka watching the sunset. Toka, hey, Izuku. What does this turn into? Pointing at the plushie. Izuku, it doesn't transform into anything, hee. Toka, no? So they fuse? Izuku, well, I guess not. Toka, oh. Too bad. Izuku calling Broccoli's attention. I had a lot of fun today, giving him a smile while hugging the stuffed animal. Izuku, that's great, I'm glad to hear it. After all, I had fun too, giving her a Midoriya-style smile, blushing. Toka, and it's a shame we didn't go into the hot springs. Izuku quickly shakes his head. Izuku, there's nothing wrong with it, he scratching his red cheek. Toka, so. This was a date? Izuku, yes, of course. Toka standing next to her. A date is when a boy and a girl go out and have fun together. Toka, so this was a total date. Dates are great. Standing next to Izuku. What the two didn't know was that Tabayachi was watching the two with a sniper in the distance. Tabayachi, it's weird that this is a spirit without a spatial wave and especially that she goes out with my Midoriya pointing at Toka permission to shoot? They deny him permission because there are a few people around. Tabayachi, it's weird that this is a spirit without a spatial wave and especially that she goes out with my Midoriya pointing at Toka permission to shoot? They deny him permission because there are a few people around. With Izuku. Toka, humans are very kind, not one has tried to attack me. Looking at Izuku, no one has tried to kill me, right? Izuku, yeah, nobody. Toka, every time I appeared in this world, I destroyed something very beautiful. Watching the sunset next to the city from the place where they are walking. Izuku, Toka. Toka, Izuku. Maybe it's best for me to get out of here. Making a sad face. Izuku, that's not true. You haven't caused any harm to anyone yet, right? Toka nods. You haven't made a space wave either. So you haven't destroyed anything. Toka, that isn't enough. We don't know what will happen next time. If I go back I won't be able to calm down. Izuku, then stay here. Hugging her. Toka, huh? Izuku. Izuku, stay here. I'll teach you to be a human. Tightening the hug. Toka, but I have nowhere to stay. Izuku, I'll take care of all of it. Just stay. Putting his forehead against hers. Toka, Izuku. Can I really stay in this world? Can I really? Izuku, of course you can. Toka, Izuku, you're the only one who thinks that. I've caused damage here and. Izuku, that doesn't matter. If people refuse to accept you, I will accept you twice as much then. Even more than that. Toka blushed at those words. Takes my hand. Moving away from her a little and offering her his hand. That's all you have to do. Smiling at her. Toka, Izuku. I was going to grab her hand but Izuku pushes her. Izuku? Why was that? Notes to Izuku. Bang. The bullet hits the shit out of me. Izuku was bleeding heavily and had a hole in his shoulder as he fell to the ground. Toka's plushie also had a hole in it from the bullet. The ground was covered in blood, but Izuku was still conscious. Toka. Tabayachi was paralyzed by the mistake he made. He threw the sniper and stared blankly at Izuku. Toka approached Izuku and put on him the school vest she had. Toka, I thought that with you maybe. Izuku, I'm not dead. Toka he smiling at him with some blood. I thought it was a normal bullet, but I already felt that it wasn't. Haha, laughing with some pain. Toka, Izuku. Smiling while hugging him. Izuku, don't squeeze me. There where his shoulder was burning. Toka, sorry. Izuku sobbing. Izuku, I thought why you weren't going to see cry. Toka, great baka. Getting up now. I have to take care of someone. Hitting the ground, cracking it, and appearing with his armor and sword. Izuku, just let's go. Toka getting up as best as he could. Tabayachi after shooting him was in a trance and didn't even notice that Izuku was up. Toka, but she is kissed by Izuku, starting to shine, appearing naked without even her sword or armor. Izuku, let's go. Toka, it's not worth it. Toka was going to speak but Izuku doesn't let her. Izuku, to Toka. Okay let's just go. Watching Reine running to the place with Kanazuki. Toka, do you know them? Izuku, of course I do. He was going to fall to the ground but Toka catches him. Thanks. Toka, to you. Izuku huging him. Izuku, my shoulder. Crying comically. Toka, sorry. Reine, Izuku. Running as fast as she could to the place and Kanazuki came back all tired. Kanazuki, when it comes to Midoriya running like an Olympics player. Falling to the ground and embarrassing Reine for that last thing. Reine, Izuku. Glad you're okay. Screams, bringing Tabayachi out of his trance. Tabayachi, good, noticing Izuku only with the hole. Sorry Izuku, getting up ready to leave even though the communicator told her to wait, but she didn't want to shoot him again, so she left the place. Toka, Izuku. Who is she? Putting on her school clothes again. Izuku, huh? Reine hello. Leaning on Toka. Toka, tell me baka. Izuku, baka. Take 2. Izuku, she's a friend. Making Reine stop dead huh? Reine, friend. 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 Making circles on the floor. Izuku, are Reine-san? Reine, tell me Reine. Izuku lifting up and hugging Izuku. Izuku, my shoulder. Reine, forgive me Izuku, I was worried. Separating. Izuku, thanks for worrying Reine, how about we go? The two of them nod and Kanazuki raised her thumb from afar. On the way to Izuku's house. Kanazuki, Izuku, when are you going out with Reine? Calling the attention of the three who were in the car, especially the two girls. Reine, when? Waiting for Izuku's answer. Tohka, looking at Izuku with half-closed eyes. Izuku, well. Well looks at Reine who turns away blushing. Well, I don't know. Do you want to go out with me? Blushing he asked Reine who nodded quickly, and Tohka in the background just looked at Izuku with her eyes on fire. Kanazuki, you're going to have a harem, ha? Izuku blushed along with the two girls, especially Reine. Tohka, a harem? He asked Reine. Reine didn't say anything and just kept scrolling through her phone. Tohka, wow, that's bad. Izuku, I idiot, although how will I do it if I'm going to have to go out with all of them while having to control them? Curled up in his seat. Reine, then you ask Kotori-sama reading. Izuku, why you read my mind? Reine, I just thought you had a question, not paying attention to the reaction. Kanazuki, good luck kid, ha. Arriving at Izuku's house and everyone starts to go down except Kanazuki. Izuku, you're not coming? Kanazuki, that's why I said. Good luck. Accelerating the car and leaving the place. Izuku, oh. Tohka, are we staying here Izuku? Pointing to the house. Izuku, yes, going to the house. Are you going to stay overnight? I ask Reine. Reine, maybe so. Planning to sneak into Izuku and Tohka's room, she had the same thought. Izuku, then Tohka will sleep with you in my bed, since there are only two beds, mine and Kaizome's. How will she be when I bring the two home? Opening the door of the house. Staying, oh hello Izuku getting up from the sofa, oh hello beautiful. Going to Reine but she walks away hugging Izuku, eh? Izuku, In that Tohka also hugs Izuku, leaving Stain's eyes rolling. Stain, lucky boy. Crying comically, he beat the girl to it, curled up in the corner of the room. Izuku, Kaizome. Stain, what's wrong Izuku? Getting up. Izuku, they'll stay overnight, no problem? Stain, no problem. Izuku, well, Tohka will stay to live, leaving Stain with empty eye sockets. Stain, her? Pointing at Tohka. Izuku, yeah, right? Tohka nods without letting go of Izuku along with Reine. Stain, he's going to have a harem. Crying comically. Izuku, going to his room to organize his things, but Stain stops him. Stain, I have two things to ask you. Number one, what did you do that with? Pointing at Izuku's wound, worried, and the second. How did you do it? Pointing at the girls who went to Izuku's room. Izuku, well. I don't know the second one. Embarrassed, and the first one was a bullet when saving Tohka. Stain, oh she's the spirit, right? Izuku nods. I didn't recognize her with your school shirt, is she with you? Izuku, well. No, but maybe he'd like to go. Stain, well we'll put him in there with you, didn't you have a date with someone? Another white-haired girl? Izuku, that's tomorrow. I don't even want to go anymore, remembering that she was the one who shot him when he looked at her from afar. Stain, so yeah. It's a harem? Izuku, ha. Leave me alone about that. Going to his room. Stain, lucky. We can see in the BNHA universe Allmouth fighting against All for One. In its original line this was not supposed to happen yet, but Izuku's disappearance made Allmouth go look for him and the heroes had to face the League of Villains. All for One, Allmouth, it's time to end this era, starting to put many quirks in his right hand, starting to become enormously ugly and large. Allmouth, I will not back down. All for One. This goes for everyone in this world. I will go with this last blow, beginning to increase his right arm. When he is in his true form we will finish now. All for One. Going to where the villain is. The two were going to connect their final attack, but Allmouth manages to hit him first, winning the match. Allmouth, now. We have people who will know where young Midoriya will be. Starting to stagger but raises his fist indicating his latest victory. Everyone watched this with noise, applause, tears and whistles. Allmouth, we're coming for you. Midoriya Shonen, starting to fall to the ground but Gran Torino arrives grabbing him. Thanks he. Gran Torino, I'm supposed to be the old man, you're supposed to serve as my walking stick, not the other way around. With a drop in his temple. Allmouth, yeah. Laughed as much as he could. Gran Torino, just don't strain yourself. Watching the heroes and ambulances arrive at them, then we'll interrogate the villains. Toshinori Allmouth nods. I hope he's not dead. I'll do what I can to bring him back. Allmouth, hope is never lost. Looking at the dark sky. In the Data Live universe. Izuku, please let me go. While being hugged by Reine and Toka, who didn't want him to sleep on the couch. Reine, the three of us fit here adjusting the pillow. Izuku, but. Toka, okay Izuku, it's time to sleep. Reine nods. Izuku, oh well, shaking. Reine, if he can't handle us, how will he handle it when he has a full harem? Watching Izuku tremble. On the day. Izuku, what a good life. Getting up but feels a sphere in his hand falling off the bed when he realizes what it was. Sorry, Reine-san. Running out of the room. Reine, Getting up next to Toka because of the scream. What happened? Toka, no idea, rubbing her eyes. With Izuku. This one was hiding behind the sofa with a frying pan on his head. Stain, boy, what are you doing? Looking at Izuku, scaring him. Izuku, you almost gave me a heart. Stain, never mind, just make sure you go to class today. Going to the entrance of the house, take care of yourself, closing the door. Izuku, Mama Kaizome he going to make breakfast but is hugged by Toka, who arrived where he was. Hello Toka. Toka, hey Izuku. What are we having for dinner? Rumbles her stomach, making a pout. Izuku, I'll make something to eat, you sit down. Sees Reine arrive. Hello Reine, going to the kitchen. Do you want something to eat too? Reine, sure. Izuku, going to make a coffee. Izuku, do you know how to do it? This coffee maker is something else. Looking at how he put the coffee beans wrong. Let me do it. Reine giving a smile to Midoriya, blushing but he didn't notice. Reine, fine good. Izuku, the boy noticed that stutter. Izuku, something's wrong Reine? Looking at her out of the corner of his eye while he makes the coffee. Reine, is there any sugar? Izuku nods and points to where they are. Thanks, grabbing all the sugar cubes and pouring them into the cup. Izuku, Reine, that's going to fault you, don't you think you should drink black coffee? Not cappuccinos, and adding a lot of sugar? Reine, well I'll do it, putting the cubes away again. Izuku, okay, that's it. Watching the coffee come out. So what do you want for breakfast? Pouring coffee into the cup. Reine, I can't handle you? Izuku. The boiling coffee falls into his hand. Crap. Toka and Reine, Izuku. Getting up to see the boy's hand. Izuku, fine looking at his red hand. At least it wasn't as bad as it was for other people. Slightly remembering Todoroki, but quickly denies it when he remembers that he will never go to that universe again. Reine, here, taking out a cream. Izuku, what's that for? Reine, stops burns. Izuku, why did you have a burn cream? Reine, in case something happened to you. Looking away, handing her the bottle for you. Toka, I didn't give him anything, crying comically. Izuku, thanks Reine. Smiling as best as he can while starting to put on the cream. Toka, how do I get those things? Looking at the cream, first of all. How do I get that thing they call money? Remembering that Izuku explained to her what money was. Izuku calling Izuku's attention. How do you get money? Reine, it is achieved by working. Toka, I don't remember seeing her asked, snorted, looking away. Izuku, what is Toka bringing? Since when was she like this before coming? Toka, do you want to come with me too? Reine, we already got her into school. Leaving Izuku with a funny face. Toka, yep, smiling at the boy. I'll always be with you. Hugging the boy. Izuku, always. Hugging her tightly, I think I'm falling in love with her. But also with her, looking at Reine as she hugs Toka, what will I do? Let's go to school. Toka, will you take us? He asked Reine, who called Kanazuki to come for them. In the BNHA universe. They had captured Himiko, Toga and Spinner the day before. Midnight, they already told us how, pointing to Spinner. Spinner, she is very persuasive. Looking at Himiko angrily. Aizawa, I just hope you haven't done things. He said, looking at Midnight, who quickly shook her head. Then tell me. Midnight, Spinner knew what happened when Kurogiri told them what happened, and obviously being a follower of Stain, he quickly gave the information. Aizawa, I hope that's why. Midnight, now. I didn't do anything. Aizawa, so tell me, what information did he tell you? Midnight, in a fight between Midoriya and Stain, Tomura and Kurogiri joined the battle. Aizawa, Did Midoriya fight against them alone? Midnight, Stain and Midoriya were a team for some reason and they fought against the other two, and according to Spinner they were sent to another reality. Aizawa, so all we have left is to try to find realities? Planning to call Nezu. Midnight, that's right, with your permission I'm leaving the place. Himiko, when they bring Midoriya-kun back, can I keep him? Aizawa, of course. Not. Himiko, Joe. Snort. On Data Live. Kanazuki, how was your night Midoriya? Watching the green-haired boy get into the car. Izuku, the best? Quickly shaking his head, being noticed by Kanazuki. Kanazuki, the best? He guessing what Izuku thought. Reine and Toka blushed as they watched Izuku nod at the question, albeit at a lesser level than the adult. On the way they were very quiet except for the young people who were talking among themselves to the jealousy of the adult. Kanazuki, and that face? Looking through the window at Reine, who was trying to burn Toka with her gaze. Reine, sorry. Starting to look at her cell phone, which begins to melt slightly, to Kanazuki's shock. Kanazuki, Jay, just don't burn the car. Angrying Reine. At school. Izuku, thanks Kanazuki, getting out of the car. Kanazuki, you already know it, with a small mustache. Izuku, eh? Kanazuki, there are 7 accelerating the car. Izuku, there are 7? Toka. Huh? Reine, leave him alone, he's an idiot. Izuku, what are you doing here? Scream of fear. Reine, I work here. Don't you want me here? She said in a pretended sad tone, waiting a lot for the answer. Izuku, and there's no problem with you being here, with a blush looking at Reine's tender face. Reine, then let's go inside, grabbing Izuku's hand, who was also grabbed by the other arm by Toka. Izuku, gee girls? Toka, I don't plan on losing, looking with purple flames in her eyes at Reine, who with light blue flames looked at Toka. Izuku was about to speak, but Shido, Kotori and Tanamachi arrive at the scene. Tanamachi, he already has 2 girls? And one of them is a teacher? Crying comically, lucky fucking guy. Leaving the place crying comically. Kotori, and in the future there will be more. Looking with a drop in the temple at what Tanamachi did. Izuku, what did you say? Kotori, did I think it or say it? Shido, you said it. Toka, what do you mean he's going to have more? Kotori, we'll talk about that later. Harem plan for Izuku, nodding at her thought but quickly blushes, being noticed by Shido. Shido, Kotori? Watching his adoptive sister look at Izuku with a huge blush on her face, eh? Izuku, Kotori? Looking at the girl who went out of orbit. Reine, Kotori-sama. Thinking the same as Kotori. Toka, with a pout. Shido, let's go to class instead, looks at Reine and Kotori following them, but the real students Kotori and Reine just pout and leave the place. Toka, yes. Izuku for me, starting to squeeze Izuku's arm, who didn't hurt that much. Izuku, let's go to class then, Shido-kun going to the classroom with them too. Upon entering, Toka introduces herself. Tabayachi almost jumps out of his seat when he sees her and also Izuku. Tabayachi, will she want to go out after what I did to her? Thinking about her outing that Izuku asked her to do a few days ago, and also the shot she gave Izuku yesterday, I have nothing to lose by trying. But she doesn't send me a message either, remembering when she gave him her cell phone number. Izuku, hello. Tanamachi sitting next to the boy on his other side, Toka, and behind him Tabayachi. Tanamachi, shut up. Lord Harem. Everyone looked at the scene caused by the boy, then explained to me how you did it. All the men looked at the scene better than anyone else. Izuku, but I don't even have a girlfriend. How am I going to have a harem? Tanamachi, so you have nothing with her? Pointing to Toka, who nodded, huh? Yeah, what? Toka, yes, I have something with Izuku. Tabayachi quickly stood up from his seat. Tabayachi, lie, Izuku is my boyfriend, hugging Izuku's back. Izuku, oh Origami-san? Tabayachi, he doesn't even call me by my name? Didn't you ask me out? Making the boy's eyes wide open. Izuku, fuck, yeah, but I didn't ask you to be my girlfriend. Swallowing hard. Tabayachi, well. That's true, but I don't plan on giving up. Pointing at Toka, you hear? Toka, but Izuku is mine, right? I ask Izuku, who was left blushing big. Izuku, well, I haven't asked you to be my girlfriend yet. Toka, so what's stopping you? jumping on top of Izuku, and all the students looked at the scene. The teacher had not arrived yet, to their surprise. Izuku, well then Toka. Toka nods. Toka, yes Izuku? With stars in his eyes. Izuku, why you wanna be my and someone is heard entering the classroom. Tammy, good morning guys. Entering with their books. Oh. Looks at the scene. W, what are you doing? Izuku, W, well. Toka, yes I do. Hugging Izuku. Izuku, I didn't even finish telling you. Toka, but you were still going to ask me. Hugging him. Izuku, W, well it's true. With his head between Toka's breasts without meaning to. Tabayachi, I'll do my best to beat him, looking at Toka and Izuku. In BNHA. There were heroes gathered, they said they could find Izuku. Nezu, so did you tell Mrs. Midoriya about what happened? Aizawa and Toshinori nod. Then we'll have to choose 5 people to go to that place. Aizawa, can I choose who can go? Nezu, eh? Well. I thought I shouldn't. But I'll trust you. Aizawa, how about I, Momo Yaoyorozu, Katsuki Baku go, Todoroki Shoto and Ida Tenya go? Nezu, tell me, why the 4 young people? Aizawa, they know Midoriya better than the heroes. Apart from that, Yaoyorozu has great intelligence, and apart from being able to create things to make possible resources. Aizawa, Katsuki Bakugo, the most powerful according to the sports festival, is the one who knows Midoriya the most even though he wants to deny it. Aizawa, Todoroki can use his ice to give us space and cover apart from being a great friend of Midoriya. Aizawa, Tenya also for the same reason as Yaoyorozu apart from his great speed, which he can use to search quickly. Nezu, well that explanation was very quickly planned. Aizawa, I thought about it before coming, leaving everyone with a drop in their stomach for sincerity. Nezu, then you will go, just promise the parents of the young people to bring them safely. Aizawa, I promise, we don't plan on giving up, we'll do what we can. I'm leaving the place, just like everyone else. Nezu, then tomorrow we start building that machine, looking at a contact that Toshinori gave him, being from someone called Dave.